Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. No periodic table, no alien talk today. However, the creator came through with the message. Now, before we get into anything, I want to first say I have not predicted or prophesied anything in regards to the eclipse, okay? That is supposed to be happening on the 8th. I made sure that I stuck to whatever the research said, okay? And I made sure that I made a distinction between what research has said and what we need to do in order to prepare, right? I tried to make sure that I gave tips on how to align ourselves, right? And I had some questions. I started asking the creator a few questions, and it's in regards to the eclipse, but I just wanted to make sure that I was headed in the right direction with my thinking as far as what it means spiritually, as well as just what I thought overall. So I asked God, I said, it's okay if I ask you a few questions because I'm really confused. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, can I share this with the podcast? And he said, sure. All right. So my first question, I think, is obvious. Are we going to die? Right? Are only the non-believers going to die? Right? So if you know anything about what's going on right now, then you have heard all of the theories and the different suggestions that are evolving this solar eclipse, right? Are we going to blow up, right? Is this going to be some, collision between us and another planet? Is it like a comet? Are we going to be experiencing things that are related to radiation and things like that? All right. Is Jesus returning? God, are you returning? Right? These are questions that I'm asking God. And I think, let me finish asking my questions. I'll get to that. Are there any more prophets coming? Again, that came up as a result of me wondering if there is another prophet coming, or are the prophets reincarnating? Is it a conspiracy to kill everyone? Are we in danger? Are we going to start seeing aliens and living amongst them? Are we going to start seeing doppelgangers? Are we going to start living with aliens as a result of the eclipse or shift? Are we going to experience the Antichrist? Is this the beginning of the end of the world? All right. Now, I have so much anxiety, right, around this eclipse that I had to ask these questions. And if you are like me, then you have been investigating and studying and doing your research. I wasn't even sure if this was even going to be a full segment because I was just so focused on the solar eclipse. It started to consume me, right? So I'm going to urge you to do the same thing, right? Of course, these are my questions, and the answers that I get are the answers for me from the creator, right? And believe it or not, there are some things that I don't share with you all. I get downloads a lot, and the creator has to make it plain and clear what is for the podcast and what is not. Okay? So whatever answers I get, I will make sure that I'm sharing it with you if the Creator is telling me to share whatever it is. I would also like to make a note that the 7th now is also being considered significant. We're being told that there's going to be some celestial activity going on the 7th, depending on where you are geographically. Okay, this eclipse is supposed to last for a little over 4 minutes. That's kind of long. During this time, we are supposed to lose power. They're suggesting or predicting rather that our satellites will be knocked out of position, causing us to not even have internet. All right. So if that seems like something that's going to affect you or bother you, I would suggest that you do your own research and find out how to prepare for such an event. All right. Again, I will urge you to also ask questions, because the answers that I'm getting are just from me. Whatever the Creator feels that I can handle, whatever the Creator feels like is in my scope of understanding and being able to make decisions based off of what He's given me. And by the way, He hasn't answered me so far and said anything. He just opened the door to allow me to ask such questions, because I understand that something is going on. And this has nothing to do with my spiritual gifts or nothing, right? I already said that I'm not predicting nor prophesying anything. I'm doing research just like everyone else. And I am using the research that I have come across to determine what is worth covering, what is worth investigating further, what is worth, kind of, I'm sorry, I got a bit distracted. But in the event that we are going to be experiencing anything, who else better to ask other than the Creator, right? It would make sense to ask what to expect from God. I think we are constantly always looking at the news and all these YouTubers and all these fake YouTubers, rather. I'm not discrediting anyone who may know something, but we need astronomers, astrologers, people who are informed. They have the resources. And when I say resources, I don't mean just the instruments to look up in the sky. I mean information, right? We need to really know what to expect so we can know how to plan and prepare. Obviously, if this is the end of the world, this is the end of time. And I'm laughing because it's like, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it, right? But if this is something that we are going to be living through, I mean, I was even wondering, like, if our entire memories will go blank. Like, that was like one of the main things outside of, are we going to die? And like, is this the end of the world? And is this a sign that Jesus is coming back? Like, those 4 questions were like the main ones that I felt were most important, because they would be the most like catastrophic or most important. Obviously, again, if it's the end of the world, it's nothing any of us can do about it but just live until it's time to go wherever we're going to go. But because there's so much speculation around this eclipse, especially with CERN deciding to use the same exact date to test their particle machine, I just feel like there's a lot afoot, right? And if you are a commoner, like a regular civilian, then you don't really have a lot of information. You're not knowing what to expect. You're probably just going to be paying attention to the news. So again, for the 3rd time, I'm urging you to ask the Creator what to expect from this solar eclipse. The people who, like myself, right, who are a little bit spiritually inclined and kind of paying attention to other things that allude to what may possibly happen. People who are spiritually gifted, the seers, the people who have the gift of prophecy, right? Anyone who has spiritual gifts may be able to give you something in small pieces, maybe a bit here and a bit there, but overall, everyone's going to be wrong, right? And then I would like to also add that each of us, we have our own spiritual journey. So if the Creator is coming to us, giving us information, that just may be for our journey, whether it's for this dimension or this timeline or another. None of what applies to me has to apply to you, right? It can just be something different. And I don't think anyone fully understands why we have to go through the different scenarios. There are tons of reasons why you would think one thing would happen based off of history, based off of people talking, whatever you may be coming upon in your research, based off of religious text, right? Based off of your own spiritual insight and guidance. We can take this so many different ways. But again, I think starting with the Creator will be one of those things that will give you a little bit of a head start on how to maneuver. A few days ago, I did a segment on some things to purchase just in case, to be, prepared in the state or stage of being prepared at least a little bit. I think we all know water, canned goods, some flashlights, some good decent clothes is probably like the most important. I'm not suggesting that anyone get a firearm, but you might have to. A taser, a knife, some mace, just in case. I gave a list. I don't want to overshadow this segment for that. You can look at your family and your lifestyle to determine what you may need to purchase in the state or in the event that we have a state of emergency, right? And before we go, I just wanted to make sure that we are all on the same page with this topic. This segment is me sharing with you my concerns, my thoughts, my questions that I have for the Creator. And he told me that it was fine to share those questions. So maybe you have those same questions. Maybe you feel like, where am I getting my information from? Maybe you're trying to figure out what the heck may be even like going on, right? That, I think a combination of those things will probably lead you, even if you wanted to go and look up people who are like survivalists, they have those when shit hit the fans, videos, all these videos about surviving. There are tons. You could look them up. It doesn't really cost a lot to invest in certain of these projects, little gadgets that can make the difference between life and death. I also spoke about aluminum foil. I think you should get yourself some aluminum foil. But yeah, I think that's just the gist of this conversation. All right, we're done, but I'm not going to ramble on. I gave my questions and I'm suggesting that you two ask the Creator. All right, but I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope all is well. I hope y'all have been enjoying your break if you are on spring break. And if not, I hope you are enjoying getting your money, child. All right. But I do love y'all. I hope you are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, sipping on your own tea.